Good morning and happy Tuesday to everybody. Hope your day is off to a start. We are in the second game on Monday, June 15th date, game number 425 on the replay at Exhibition Stadium in Toronto. The Detroit Tigers and the Toronto Blue Jays. Toronto is tied with Milwaukee for first place, and the Tigers are chasing them, so good chance for the Tigers to gain some ground head to head. Exhibition Stadium is symmetrical, so singles are 1 to 9 both sides, and home runs are 1 to 11 both sides. Pretty good pitching matchup. We got 7-1 Walt Terrell against 13-0 Jimmy Key. So I would say it's a pretty decent pitching matchup. Also, both pitchers and catchers combinations are excellent at holding runners. Both are going to be -5, so there probably won't be any stolen bases today, or very few, at least when the starters are in there. Heath is a -2 on his hold, and Terrell is a -3, so that makes him a -5. Jimmy Key is a -6 on his hold, and Whit being a 0 keeps that at a -6, and of course -5 is the best you can have. So we got the game up on the Strat-O-Matic computer, getting ready to get this underway. The only thing I didn't do is put in the wild pitch and balk rating for Jimmy Key. He's a 6 wild pitch and an 8 balk. That's the only part I was missing. Detroit comes into the game 33-26. Toronto 40-20. So Detroit, after taking a tough luck loss to Boston in the previous game, really looking to bounce back, and they need to bounce back because every time they lose, they're just losing more ground to the top two, Brewers and the Blue Jays. Same with the Yankees. They've been losing, so they're losing ground too. Got our Toronto colored dice. And leading things off, well, first of all, let's get the full measure of Jimmy Key so we can see where he's coming from. On the real season, he was 17-8 with a 2.76 ERA. But on the replay, he is 13-0 with a 1.49 ERA. 115 innings pitched already. Just 75 hits allowed, or 79 hits allowed. 27 walks and 84 strikeouts. So he has, if there was a Cy Young vote right now, of course, he would win it in a landslide. Hopefully, I don't have any trouble with either Xfinity or YouTube. When I first started to try to start this, I got an error message, so I had to reboot and start again. Hopefully, that won't be a problem. Keep our fingers crossed for that. And we'll get this game going. Lou Whitaker will lead things off for Detroit. He's hitting 281 on the replay, 13 homers, 44 driven in, at 265 real world. And before the first pitch, we always have the ceremonial first sip. And that is some good coffee. All right, here's Lou Whitaker. 1-8 for Whitaker. It's a 1-6 single. That's a 16. He will line it right to Garth Orge at second base. And we are underway from north of the border. Here's Bill Madlock. He is at first base for this one. As again, Detroit has loaded their lineup with right-handed hitters. So you won't see guys like Pat Sheridan or Darrell Evans, people like that, or Matt Noakes. You're going to see all these right-handed hitters in the lineup. Madlock is hitting 244 on the replay. 2 homers, 3 driven in. He at 279 real world. It's a 5-7 right-handed. Ground ball second base X. We're looking at Garth Orge. He's not very good, unfortunately, for Toronto. 4E13. 4 and a 5 is most likely going to be a base hit, almost assuredly. 4 and a 5 is going to be a base hit. That is an 11, and he is an E13 at second base. E13, there is no 11 there, but it is going to be a base hit for Bill Madlock. Sneaks it on the AstroTurf right past Garth Orge. Madlock no threat of running, though. Here's Kirk Gibson. He is the left fielder in this game. Gibson hitting a robust 360 on the replay, 11 homers, 35 driven in, at 277 real world. First havoc roll. Nothing happening. Hello, Dr. D. Good morning to you. That's a 6-8, and that's going to be a ground ball shortstop X. So it's a possible double play. because Tony Fernandez is a 1, and they were not holding Matlock on, so Fernandez can keep his number 1 rating. So if he gets a good roll, this could be a Giovanni's Tailor Shop tailor-made double play. We shall see. 1 to 15, that's definitely a G1, no question about it. That is a 13, and Fernandez is a 17. It's short. E17. There's a 15, 16, 17, no 13, so it will be a 6-4-3 Giovanni's Tailor Shop tailor-made double play turned by the Blue Jays to get out of the inning. Giovanni's Tailor Shop in Lemoyne, Pennsylvania. If you're in that area, be sure to stop by and see them. They are the unofficial sponsor of this channel, but the official sponsor of the Giovanni's Tailor Shop tailor-made double play of the game. And we get it right here in the first inning, 6-4-3. Can't get any more tailor-made than that. So the Tigers are gone in the first. Hello, Kevin. Tigers are gone in the first, and here's Walt Terrell. Terrell was 17-10 with a 4.05 ERA in the real season. In the replay, he's 7-1 with a 4.23 ERA. So his ERA is up, but his wins are good because he's gotten run support. 79 innings pitched. He's allowed 92 hits, so he's got a little bit more than what he bargained for in hits allowed. 25 walks, 46 strikeouts. So we'll see what he can do against this Blue Jay lineup. That's going to be led by Tony Fernandez, the shortstop, who just helped turn that double play. Oh, it's the Carlton replay be back shortly. I wanted to give it a break for a few days because I just did Carlton on an APA thing, and I really didn't want to have too much Carlton going on. So probably later in the week, the Carlton game will be payoff pitch replay will be back. All right, here is Tony Fernandez. He's hitting 359 on the replay. 2 homers, 23 driven in. He hit 322 real world. Switch hitter. 3-7, and that's a fly to center. And Chet Lemon will haul it in. 1 down for Lloyd Mosby. Mosby hitting 336, 17 homers, 57 driven in. He hit 282 real world. 5-9, and that's a pop out to first base. 2 down. Now, the only replay that kind of went away is the Demolition League 2024 because I just couldn't get into the modern season, although I wanted to. And I'm already doing this for Strat, so I kind of want to, if I'm going to do projects, I want to be separate game engines. I don't want to do 2 projects in the same game, so I was getting a Strat overload. So that's, I'm definitely going to be doing more Fall Classic, no question about it. In fact, the game of the week is going to be Fall Classic starting in April. Using Fall Classic 1989 season game of the week will start April the 8th. Well, this 89 season was April 8th. I'm not sure what that corresponds to in 2026. It'll be the closest weekend to April the 8th, whatever that is, closest Saturday. All right, here's Jesse Barfield. Barfield hitting 315 on the replay. 23 homers, 61 driven in. He hit 263 real world. Does lead with 23 homers. 5-4, and that's a ground ball third base X. So we're looking at the third baseman Brookins. He's a 3E21. 3E21 for Brookins. Let's see, a 3 and a 6. 3 and a 6 is a G3 pound, but nobody's on base, and he's not responsible for holding anybody anyway. So G3, that's a 12, and Brookins is an E21 at third base. There's an 11 there, but no 12, so Brookins will make the play, and the Blue Jays go in order, 1, 2, 3. Kind of expecting a defensive game, but you never know with the dice what they're going to do. But right now, after 1 inning, we got no score. April 4th. Thank you, Tim. So April 4th, we will get going. Dr. D, my general rule generally speaking, is if they have an asterisk, I hold them. If they don't have an asterisk, I don't hold them. I mean, there are exceptions in game situations, but generically speaking, if a guy's got a dot, an asterisk there, where he gets the lead automatically, if you're not holding him, then I hold him. If he doesn't have a dot there, I figure there's a reason he doesn't have a dot there, so I don't hold him unless it's a situation that I think Dick warrants it, but otherwise, I don't like leaving that hole open. Too many chances for base hits when the guys are getting held. So here is Alan Trammell. And Trammell is the league's leading hitter right now, hitting .426 on the replay. 14 homers, 49 driven in. He hit .343 real world. That's a 6-4, and that's an in-home run chance, 1-8, and that's on. Alan Trammell takes Jimmy Key deep. Look at it again. 6-4 is a 1-8 home run, and that's a 6. So Alan Trammell continuing the hot hitter. So the best hitter in the league facing the best pitcher in the league, and the hitter wins this one. 15th home run of the season for Alan Trammell. RBI number 50, right on the dot, and the Tigers take a 1-0 lead. For Jimmy Key, that's the 9th home run he has allowed. He allowed 24 real-world home runs, but that's the 9th he has allowed. It has spiked his up-to-the-minute ERA to 1.55 now. All right, here's Larry Herndon. He is the designated hitter, hitting .319. 5 homers, 15 driven in. He hit .324 real world. 2-6 for Herndon. That's a double. 1-6. That's a 2. So a double for Larry Herndon. Jimmy Key giving up a home run and now a double. And here comes the catcher, Mike Heath. Heath is hitting .271 on the replay. 3 homers, 16 driven in. He hit .281 real world. He's got to settle in. 4-8, and that's a line out right to the second baseman, Orge. So Heath hit it hard, but right to Orge. And there's one away. So even the outs are being hit hard. Here's Chet Lemon. He could use a hit. He's been struggling all season long. He's hitting .204 on the replay. 3 homers, 15 driven in. He hit .277 real world. So he's been definitely one of the outlier strugglers. 6-4. That's that in-home run chance again. And Jimmy Key gets done in again with the D20. It's a 2-run home run from Chet Lemon. The second 6-4 roll has doomed Jimmy Key again. It is a 2-run home run to make it a 3-0 Tigers lead. And Jimmy Key is looking to outlaw the 6-4 roll. For Chet Lemon, that is home run number 4 on the replay. RBIs 16 and 17. But Jimmy Key, that 6-4 is his bugaboo, 1-8, and the double die has come up low twice. And it is now a 3-0 Tiger lead. Here's Harper. Harper, I got a warning on the computer telling me that Harper has exceeded his at-bats, which he has. In the replay, Harper, let's see the home run from Lemon out there. On the replay, Harper has had 65 at-bats, hitting .246, 3 home runs, 12 driven in. In the real world, he had 64 at-bats, so I'm 1 over. 3 home runs, 10 driven in, hitting .203. So, but he's facing a lefty Key, so we're going to stick with it. That is a 4-9, and that's a pop out to third, where Mr. Gruber will make the 2 down. But Jimmy Key, you don't see many games, whole games where he gives up 3 runs. He's done it here in the same inning with 2 home runs. He's looking to ban that 6-4 roll. Here's Brookins. Brookins is hitting .256, 4 homers, 19 driven in. He hit .241 real world. 5-6, and that's a strikeout. First strikeout for Jimmy Key. But the 2 home runs, the solo shot by Trammell and the 2-run homer by Lemon, has put the Tigers up 3-0 as we go to the bottom of the second, and the Brewers are loving this result. Hello, Jeremiah. Speed of 12 or higher. Okay. Like I said, it's a great thing about this game. You can personalize it to play it the way you like. Add little idiosyncrasies here and there. So here is George Bell to lead things off. He's hitting .288, 20 homers, 56 driven in. He hit .308 real world. 6-10, and that is a ballpark single check, which is a 1-9, but this time the double die is too high, so he flies it out to Chet Lemon for 1 away. Blue Jays are wondering where the low D20 is for them. but that's the way the ball bounces, or the dice rolls, however you want to look at it. Here's Willie Upshaw, first baseman, hitting 205. 2 homers, 18 driven in. He hit 244 real world. 110 for Willie Upshaw. Split chance 1-2 was a single, and that's a line out to second base. So he lines it right to Whitaker. 2 down. And here is Kelly Gruber. Gruber is hitting 326, 7 homers, 23 driven in, 235 on the real season. So he's 100 points above his average. 4-6, and that's a base on balls. First walk issued by Terrell. A 2-out walk. And that'll send us to designated hitter Rick Leach. Leach on the replay hitting 302. 2 homers, 8 driven in. He hit 282 real world. First havoc roll for Terrell. This is his first base runner. 6-5, and that's a line out right to the shortstop Trammell. And that will end the inning. A couple of hard hit balls, but nothing to show for it. At the end of 2, it's Tigers 3, Blue Jays nothing. And we'll send it to the top of the third. Top of the order for the top of the third, Lou Whitaker. 5-4, and it's a fly to center. Mosby tracks it down, 1 away. Bill Madlock got a single his first time up, but erased on a double play. 5-8, and that's a strikeout. Second strikeout for Jimmy Key as he tries to have a bounce back inning and hope that his team can score him some runs. Here's Gibson. Gibson hitting to that double play, his first chance. 6-7, lefty. That's a 1-4 single. That's a 9, so he's going to line it right to Orge. And it's a 1-2-3 inning. So Jimmy Key getting back to it. His ERA had jumped to 1.68 before that at bat after those 3 runs. So he's trying to get back to normalization. Go to the bottom of the third. And it's the bottom part of the Blue Jay order. Witt, Orge, and then Fernandez against Walt Terrell. Ernie Witt hitting 294 on the replay. 7 homers, 24 driven in. He hit 269 real world. 2-7, and that's a ground ball to first. Easy play for Bill Madlock. 1 down for Garth Orge, second baseman. Orge hitting 156 on the replay. No homers, 12 driven in. He hit 210 real world. 6-8, and that's a base hit. First hit of the game for the Blue Jays. It comes off the pitching card. Probably what Orge needed to get a hit was to get something off the pitcher card. He's not going to be held. Tony Fernandez steps up. 1-8, and that's a single to center field. Lemon's got a decent arm. Orge doesn't run all that well, so they will hold Orge at second base. So 2 quick singles after 2 are out, and here comes Lloyd Mosby in a clutch situation. First clutch situation of the game for either team. Mosby in the clutch will lose a hit on 3-9. That's everything else is neutral. Got to avoid 3-9. 5-4, he did that. It's a catcher X, so we're looking at Heath. He's a 2E3 as a catcher. Oh, 2 and a 2. That could be trouble. That double die strikes again. 2 and a 2 is looks like it's going to be a wild pitch. W/G, I believe, is an automatic wild pitch. And it is, but we're going to make sure there's no error. 14, and he is an E3. There's no 14 there, but it's simply going to be a wild pitch. And that'll move both runners into scoring position with 2 outs. Now a base hit can get them 2 runs. But it's up to Mosby to do so. 3-6 for Mosby. He's going to walk, and that's going to load the bases for the home run hitting league leader, Jesse Barfield. 1 swing of the bat, and the Blue Jays can take the lead. Jesse Barfield leads the league with 23 home runs in this replay. He only had 28 all season in the real season, and that was in 590 at bats. 590 at bats, he had 28 home runs. So far in 239 at bats, he's had 23 home runs. So he's definitely got the long ball going his way. Clutch situation for Barfield. In the clutch, he loses several hits, 1-8, 2-12. And that's it, 1-8, 2-12. Get a 4-5, and that's another walk. So it's a bases loaded walk issued by Terrell, and that'll bring home the first run of the game. For the Blue Jays, they cut it to 3-1. Bases are still loaded with 2 outs. For Barfield, that's RBI number 62. Gets it on the bases loaded walk, and that takes us to George Bell, another power hitter. George Bell, first time up, flew to center. In the clutch, Bell is actually rated completely neutral. He has no effect on his card. 3-1 Tigers. Blue Jays looking to tie this game. 5-9. Won't do it. It's a fly to Chet Lemon in center to end the inning. But they do get the run thanks to 2 singles and 2 walks. We go to the 4th. It's 3-1 Tigers. Three to 1 Tigers. Hello, Phil. I forgot to put my laptop power cord connected. That's one thing I forgot to do, and I got a warning message saying the battery's low, so I better plug this in before I get cut off. Don't want to have to deal with that. So now we're powered up, so we're in good shape. Top of the 4th we go. It'll be Alan Trammell, and Trammell homered first time up. Oh, wait a minute. That was only 2 outs. My bad. I just noticed the computer just told that to me. I just noticed this. The previous play that George Bell hit, or that he did, I believe, was a fly ball B, which would be a sacrifice fly. I'm trying to figure out, remember what the roll was, but I'm thinking it was a fly ball B. Pretty sure it was. I'm going to have to, since I want to get this right, I want to back up the video or the stream just a little bit so I can see what the actual roll was for Mr. Bell. It was a 5-9. Okay, so 5-9. Yep, it's a fly ball center field B, so it actually was a sacrifice fly. So it's actually going to be 3-2. It was a sacrifice fly. I didn't realize there were only one. I thought there were 2 outs for some reason. I don't know why. But Tony Fernandez will score on the sacrifice fly to make it. A computer kept me honest because the computer's telling me Willie Upshaw should be batting. So I was trying to figure out why Willie Upshaw should be batting, and now I know because there were only 2 outs previously. That sacrifice fly only made the second out of the inning. So definitely don't want to cheat anybody on that. Want to play it honest here. 5. Thank you, Tribe Fan. Yeah, I went back and watched it. 5-9, which was a sacrifice center field B, which is a sacrifice fly. So now in the clutch, Willie Upshaw loses a hit on 3-10. Runs at first and second. Tying run Mosby is good speed at second base. That's a 5-11. That's a fly ball left field X. That can be iffy. We got Gibson out there. He's a 3, but that's not the best. And E10 is not that great either. 3-19 is good, but the E10 could be a little iffy. We know he's going to get to it. The E10 and a 12. E10, he's lucky there's no 12 there. There's a 14, 15, 16, and 17, and 18, but no 12. So Gibson makes the catch, and it will be a 3-2 ball game, actually, as we go to the top of the 4th. Now we're ready to go to the top of the 4th. It's now a 3-2 game. Make sure we are accurate. So due up for the Tigers will be Alan Trammell against Jimmy Key to start the 4th inning. Trammell's the one that hit that home run that got the Tigers started in his first at bat. 4-5, and that's going to be a fly to left. Hauled in by Bell. 1 down. Here's Larry Herndon. Doubled his first time up, scored on the Lemon home run. 2-11, and that is a ground ball to third. Gruber is got it taken care of. 2 down. And that'll send up Mike Heath. 3-11 for Heath as a fly to center, hauled in by Mosby. 1, 2, 3 innings. So since that rough second inning, Jimmy Key has retired 8 in a row. Going back to that, since the home run, he's retired 8 in a row. So we go to the bottom of the 4th, still 3-2. Anybody's game. And Kelly Gruber is going to be your batter. Gruber walked his first chance. 1-5 for Gruber. He's going to ground. Well, 1-4 would have been a home run, but 1-5 is just going to be a ground ball to short. So just that close to missing his pitch. 1 down, and that's going to send up Rick Leach, the designated hitter. 4-8, and that's a 1-4 double, but that's a 16, so he'll settle with a single. Of course, he's not any threat to run, so will not be held. Here's Ernie Witt, catcher. 1-6 for Witt, and that's a base on balls. Boy, Terrell's been bitten by the walk machine here. That's the fourth walk actually issued by Terrell. 4 walks and no strikeouts. That's kind of unusual. But now there's 2 on with 1 out for Garth Orge. Hello, Philip. Good to see you. 2-5 for Orge is a strikeout. That's the first strikeout for Walt Terrell. Just said he didn't have any strikeouts, and there he gets one. Now it's a clutch situation for Tony Fernandez. In the clutch for Fernandez, he's actually neutral all the way. For 6, switch hitter batting left is a strikeout. So say Terrell didn't have any strikeouts. All of a sudden, he ends the inning with 2 strikeouts and gets out of the jam. So at the end of 4 complete, it's Detroit 3 and Toronto 2. Here on this Monday, June the 15th, 1987 in Toronto. Hey, Joel, good to see you. Joel, I don't know if you're probably, I don't want to assume anything, but I'm guessing you're probably not into video games all that much. I don't know. Most people aren't that are in this genre. They like this kind of thing here. I'm kind of partially into video games a little bit, but there's a video game that came out a few years back called The Last of Us. And every time I see the name Joel, I think of, because that's the main character from The Last of Us. It's also an HBO series, but the video game, Joel, he was the main protagonist in the video game. So for some reason I see the name Joel, that's the first thing that comes to my mind. I have no idea why, but I love the video game. I've played it through many, many times. I like the first one much better than the second one. All right, that's just a side note. Here's Chet Lemon. And for those that don't know video games, you're probably, like Joel just said, not familiar with it. So anyway. And like I said, I didn't think you would be, but I didn't want to assume anything either. 4-8, and that's a line out to second base. 1 away. Here is Terry Harper. That's a 4-2, and it's a ground ball right back to Jimmy Key. So Key now has retired 10 in a row since that rough third inning. Here's Brookins. 4-7. Ground ball shortstop X. Well, we know Fernandez will get to it since he is a 1. E17 is the only concern. And on E17, the only error chances are 15, 16, and 17. And that's not even close, so Fernandez will make the play to end the inning. So we go to the bottom of the 5th. Score still 3-2 Tigers. Holding on. Here's Terrell to face heart of the order, Mosby, Barfield, and Bell. This is like the best you can have for Toronto. He's got to get through them. 2 walks and a sacrifice fly for these 3 in the last at-bats. 1-9, and that's going to be a ballpark blast for Lloyd Mosby. It's a 1, 2, and 11. That's a 2. It's gone, and we are tied at 3 apiece. Lloyd Mosby. Home run number 18 on the season for Mosby. Didn't think of him as a home run hitter all that much, but he had 26 of them in the real world, and he's got his 18th already. RBI 58. Look at it again. 1-9 is a ballpark blast. It's 1, 2, and 11. That's a 2, and of course he has normal power. So we are tied at 3 apiece. And here comes Jesse Barfield, speaking of home runs. He's got 23 of them. 1-7, and he might get a 24th. 1 to 11 is a home run, and the double die, sure enough, right on cue. Look at that. 1-7 is a 1 to 11 home run. That's a 6. Barfield goes deep, back-to-back jacks, and Toronto has reclaimed the lead claimed the lead for the first time, 4-3. That is home run number 20. This is getting out of hand. That is home run number 24 for Jesse Barfield. He only had 28 in the real season, and this was at bat number 240. And he has 590 at bat, so he's got another. He's not even halfway through, and he's only 4 away from his total home runs of the real season. He's on the pace to hit like 45 to 50 home runs the way this is going. But Barfield's not complaining. The opponents are, but Barfield isn't. So the Blue Jays grab a 4-3 lead now. And here's George Bell. 5-7, and that's a ground ball shortstop X. We know Trammell's going to get to it. He's a 1. So we're doing E21, and the only errors on E21 shortstop, there are only a couple, and they would be all right. I think we're back now. Thank you, Xfinity or YouTube. I think it's Xfinity causing problems. No, we did have circles in the sand. We did, but we're back now. At least I hope so. At least it shows on my end that we're back. So I'm hoping it shows on your end that you're back. And I don't know what got cut off and what you guys saw last time. I don't know if you saw. I assume you saw the back-to-back home runs from Mosby and Barfield. What happened after that? George Bell grounded to short. And so I was getting ready to go to Willie Upshaw's at bat before we were so rudely interrupted by Xfinity. Still a little choppy, but hopefully, yeah, George Bell had an X chance to Alan Trammell, and he didn't make an error. He's a 1. He's going to get to it all the time. So easy play there. So that's where we stand 1 out. But it's now 4-3 Toronto. And now I need to bring the Strat-O-Matic game back up because I had to shut the computer down completely. And the problem is when it goes circles in the sand, I can't even send you guys a message saying hold on or anything. It just locks up completely. My whole computer locks up. Strat game locks up. Everything locks up. All I can do is hit the power button, power down cold, and then wait a couple seconds, power it back up, and go through the whole process. So usually takes 3 or 4 minutes for me to get back on. But whenever that happens, rest assured, I am in the background working to get back online. So let's open up the previous game so we can get back to where we started from and not miss a beat. And that's where we are. So I do need to I never got a chance to put in George Bell's grounder to short because that's when the computer locked up. So now we're there. And we're back now for Willie Upshaw. So everything should be up to speed now as far as where we should be. Willie Upshaw is batting with 1 out in the bottom of the 5th. Blue Jays now lead it 4-3 thanks to back-to-back home runs from Mosby and Barfield. Terrell to Upshaw, 3-4. And that's a 1 for a triple. Anything else, he's singles. So a solid single for Upshaw. Hopefully that was just a one-time hiccup. I can't never tell with Xfinity. I mean, they're finicky sometimes. Here's Gruber. 3-5 for Gruber. He's hit by the pitch. Gruber's like, why are you hitting me? But Mosby and Barfield, the one that hits the home runs, and you come and hit me. Not sure it was intentional, but whether it was intentional or not, it happened. So 2 on, 1 out. So they're looking to score more runs. Tigers may need to get the bullpen going very shortly. Here's Leach. 4-3, and that's a ballpark single check, 1-9, but that's a 14, so he will line it to second base. 2 down, and now we're in a clutch situation for Ernie Witt, the catcher. In the clutch, Witt gains a hit on 2-11 and 2-2, and I believe that's it, 2-11 and 2-2. Four 9, and that's, oh, look at this. 1-3 is a triple, 4-20 is a double. That's going to be a double for Ernie Witt. It's definitely going to score Upshaw from first. The double is assumed always to go to center when it's not listed, so Lemon is a -1 arm. But there are 2 outs, so that's going to add 2 to the base runner. And Gruber was not being held, so that makes him a 16. 2 out makes him an 18. The -1 makes him a 17. 1-17, they're going to send him. And, of course, they're going to throw through because Witt cannot take the extra base by my rule because he's under a 13 speed. So it's 1-17 to make it in there. And he is. So it's a 2-run double off the bat of Ernie Witt. And the Blue Jays have now put an Abraham Lincoln 4-score inning on the board and take a 7-3 or 6. I'm sorry, why did it only give me, for some reason on the computer, it only gave me 1 run in the 3rd inning. I must have mistyped something. I'll have to go back and check that out later. But it is definitely a 6-3 lead now. And Garth Orge is your batter. Terrell, right on the verge of fatigue. He's trying to get that last out. If he can get it, 5-4. That is a ground ball third base X. That's Brookins. Brookins might get him out of the mess. 3-21. 3-13 should get him out of the mess. We'll see about the E21. But a 3-13 is a G2. That's good enough. Third base, he is an E21, but that's a 16. That's pretty high. E21, there's a 16 right there, so that didn't help his cause any. That's going to be an E5 on the usually reliable Tom Brookins. It's only a 1 base error, so Witt can only get third base, but it keeps the inning going. The inning should be over right now. And here is Tony Fernandez. Fernandez, runners at the corners and 2 outs. 6-4, switch hitter batting left, fly ball center field X. This is Chet Lemon. He certainly ought to get him out of it. 2-4. He should get that done. 2-16, he definitely gets that part done. Now we'll check the error. It's only E4, and that's an 11. E4, there is no 11 there. So Lemon makes the play to end the inning. Toronto sends 9 to the plate. 4 of them score. It's now 6-3 in favor of the Blue Jays, and that's going to be it for Walt Terrell. He's going to be capped at 5 innings, and he gets battered around for 6 runs, all of which were earned. He's going to give up 7 hits. He's going to walk 4 and hit a batter, and he's only going to strike out 2. So after they gave him a 3-0 lead, he couldn't hold on to that, and he is going to be departing and is on his way to losing his second game. Jimmy Key well on his way to going 14-0. And when it was 3-0 in the second inning, we wouldn't have thought that, but that's what's going on right now. But the Tigers have bats, and they have 4 innings to go, so maybe they can do something. We'll see. Although Jimmy Key has retired 11 in a row. But top of the order for the Tigers can make something happen. Here's Lou Whitaker. 6-9, and that is a strikeout for Jimmy Key. That's only strikeout number 3. And that'll bring up Bill Madlock. 1 for 2. 112, and that's a hit by pitch. So you wonder if that was retaliation for Terrell hitting Gruber. Not sure. Umpires have issued a warning, and the next hit batter is an automatic ejection. So we'll keep an eye on that. They don't want anything getting out of hand. Here's Kirk Gibson. 2-6 for Gibson. That is a strikeout. Strikeout number 4 for Jimmy Key. And here's Alan Trammell. He homered his first time up, then flew to left. 2-9, and that's a ground ball to short. Fernandez makes the play easily, and the Tigers go quietly in the top of the 6th. So we need a new pitcher for the Tigers for the bottom of the 6th. And it's going to be the guy that is the most rested, even though you wouldn't think of him coming in this kind of situation. That's Willie Hernandez. He's got the most rest, and plus they got lefties coming up. 2 lefties and 2 righties, so I guess it's kind of neither here nor there. But Willie Hernandez will be coming into the ball game, because in the previous ball game they used Henneman and Eric King a lot. So Willie Hernandez is going to be the guy that comes in, tries to maybe steal 2 innings for him. They also have this lefty Mike Madden that's not carded. I could try to go something. If it gets out of hand, I'll probably go to him. We'll see how that goes. But right now, Guillermo Don't Call Me Willie Hernandez is on. In the real season, well, let's put him in here first of all. Willie Hernandez. Real season was 3-4, 3.67 ERA and 8 saves. On the replay, it's been awful. 0-2 with 3 saves and a 7.04 ERA. 8 innings pitched, 8 hits. 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. So maybe putting him in a non-leverage situation will help him get back to where he needs to be. That's Sparky's philosophy anyway. That's what he's going with. So, Lloyd Mosby against Willie Hernandez. It's a 3-8, and that's a 1-9 single. That's an 18, so he's going to line it right to Whitaker, 1 away. And here's Barfield, hit his 24th home run in his last at bat. 5-10, and that's a ballpark single check. That's a 10, so it's just out of range. Boy, had that been a 5-11, it'd been a home run check, and it would have been a home run. But 5-10 is a single check, and it only goes to 9, so it's going to be a fly to center. And that's 2 away. So Hernandez just missed. Hello, Colin. Hernandez just missed giving up another gopher ball for the Blue Jays. Here's George Bell. 3-5 for Bell. That's a solid single against the left-handed Hernandez. 2-out single to Bell. He will not be held. And lefty-lefty matchup, Willie Upshaw against Willie Hernandez. A couple of Willies going at it. 2-12, and that's a fly to right field to end the inning. So Willie Hernandez will come back out and pitch the 7th for sure. And we'll see what happens after that. Right now we go to the top of the 7th. Jimmy Key looking for win number 14 against no losses. And he's in good shape to do it. He's leading 6-3. As we head to the top of the 7th inning, Larry Herndon will lead off for the Tigers. Herndon, 1 for 3 with a double. 4-8, and that's a line out right to Orge. So he hit it hard, but right at the second baseman Orge, 1 away. Brings up Mike Heath. 1-5 for Heath against the lefty. He's going to fly it to center. Mosby is there. 2 down, and that's going to send up Chet Lemon. 6-8 for Lemon, and that is a strikeout for Jimmy Key. He is not tired. This is his fatigue inning, but he hasn't reached any fatigue marks. So the strikeout is good. Strikeout number 5 for Jimmy Key, and he has tossed 7 solid. except for they had a little hiccup in the second inning, but other than that, he has been dominant. And we go to the 7th inning stretch with the score: the Toronto Blue Jays 6, the Detroit Tigers 3. And Willie Hernandez back out will face Gruber, Leach, and Witt, the scheduled hitters. He might pinch hit for Leach. We'll wait and see. Here's Gruber. 2-10 for Gruber. He's going to ground it right back to Hernandez. 1 away. Leach only had 8% of his at-bats against lefties. And he is a designated hitter, so they could always go to somebody else. But they're going to go ahead and, with a 6-3 lead, they're going to go ahead and let him hit. 3-7, and that is a strikeout. I mean, he's got to face lefties at some point, right? So there's 2 down for Ernie Witt. And you're not going to take Ernie Witt out because he's got the chemistry catching with Jimmy Key. You're not going to interrupt that. So Ernie Witt's going to get his swings in, 3-8, and he strikes out. So Willie Hernandez does very well for 2 innings. He may go pitch the 8th as well just to save that bullpen for the rest of the series and get them rested. Of course, he'll have to sit out a game, but the way he's been pitching previously, that's not a bad idea to sit him out for a game. Here's Terry Harper. Harper 0 for 2. They may go to the bench here. I think the Tigers are going to go to the bench, try to get a better hitter out there. They don't have any righties, though. They're all lefties. One switch hitter, Whale Wander, but he's not very good. Boy, it's a tough call, but Harper's 0 for 2, and he's already exceeded his at bats and versus the other stuff. So they're going to pinch hit with Pat Sheridan. Pat Sheridan will lead things off in the top of the 8th. It's not like Harper was doing anything. So Sheridan will pinch hit in the 8th and play right field in the 8th. So one of these rare times you'll see me bring in a left-hand. I'm not like that other channel that brings in lefty batters to face lefty pitchers. That's not usually my MO, but right now they really have no choice because everybody on the bench is left-handed. And Harper just stinks. So, all right. So Sheridan on the replay is hitting 247, 3 homers, 17 driven in. He hit 259 real world. To 4-4, and that's a fly ball to center field X. That's exactly what Harper would have done. Fly ball center field X. So it is Mosby. He's a 1. We know he's going to get to it. His only air outing is an E7. So if you look at E7, 3, 4, 15, 17, and 18. And 10 is just fine. So Mosby will make the play. Sheridan is out of there, 1 away. And that'll send up Tom Brookins. 5-6 for Brookins. That's a strikeout. There's a dot there, but he hasn't given up anything since he's reached the fatigue level of innings. But he hasn't given up a thing, so he's still got full endurance. That's his 6th strikeout. In fact, he's gotten a second win. I guess it got him mad. They got him mad in the second inning. He's come back with a vengeance. Here's Lou Whitaker. 2-8 for Whitaker, and that is a split chance. 1-7 is a single, but that's a 10, so he's going to line it to Orge. And that's 8 innings for Jimmy Key. Might as well go ahead and finish what he started. No sense pulling him out. 6-3 lead. I mean, I guess you could bring Hinkie in and go for a 3, a cheap save to try to get him, right. I guess you could do that maybe. I don't know. They may do that. If it stays 6-3, we'll probably bring in Hinkie. So right now I got to bring in on the computer. We're going to bring in Sheridan, who pinch hit for Harper. And Sheridan's a much better defensive right fielder, so at least they upgrade there for what it's worth. And Hernandez will stay in the game to face Orge, Fernandez, and Mosby. 4-6, and that's a strikeout with a dot, but he's not tired. He hadn't reached any of his marks yet to be tired. So Hernandez with the strikeout. And now you got Hernandez versus Fernandez. 4-4, switch hitter batting right-handed. Ground ball third base, X. We're looking at Brookins. 3-E-21. He did commit an error earlier. 3 and a 4. That's interesting. I think he'll still get to it, though. 3 and a 4. No, he won't. 3 and a 4 is a single. And that's a 6. He's an E21. E21. And there's a 6 right there, so he commits his second error of the game. A single plus an error. And Tom Brookins having a rough game. Single plus the E5. His second error of the game for the usually reliable Tom Brookins. Can't blame Hernandez for that one. That's just the way it worked out. Here's Mosby. 2-8 for Mosby. That's a solid single to center field. And Fernandez runs at a 15, not being held as a 16. -1 is back to a 15. If they throw through, Mosby will take second base. So they're going to send him, and they're going to throw through, and Mosby's going to go to second base on the throw regardless. They're not going to cut it. They're down by 3 runs. They can't afford to cut the ball. They have to try for him. So looking at it again, 15 not being held as a 16, -1 is a 15. 1 to 15, he scores. And he does, and that's going to send Mosby to second base. So it's an RBI single off the bat of Lloyd Mosby, and that's going to be it for Willie Hernandez. With these righties coming up, they will pull Willie Hernandez. He did all right until the fielding let him down. So Hernandez is out of there, and Mike Henneman will come on, try to finish out the game. Willie Hernandez will go 2 1/3 innings. So far, 1 run. Could be earned, could not be earned, depending on what happens. And he's also responsible for Mosby. He has given up, let's see here, he gave up 3 hits, rather. He struck out 3, didn't walk anybody. And now Henneman is on to face Jesse Barfield. So we'll get the numbers on Henneman on the replay. Mosby's at second base with 1 out. Mike Henneman, he will come on. Henneman on the replay, 3-3 with 3 saves and a 4.64 ERA in the real season. 11-3, 7 saves and a 2.98. So here's Barfield. Barfield, 4-5, and that's a single to center field by Barfield. Mosby, a 17, not being held as an 18. -1's a 17. 1 to 17. If you throw through, Barfield gets second base. So it didn't work last time. The run's gonna score. They will hold Barfield at first base, try to get the double play to get out of the inning. But that run is charged to Willie Hernandez. We can close the book on him now. 2 runs, they were both earned. Blue Jays now lead it by the score of 8-3 after they were down 3-0. Here's George Bell against Henneman. 5-5, and that is a split chance. 1 to 4 is a single. That's a 19, so he lines it to Trammell. Out number 2. 2 down for Willie Upshaw. It's a 1-6 for Upshaw, and he flies to center field, and that will end the inning. So Henneman's going to go 2/3 of an inning and give up a hit, nothing else. But 2 runs are in. It's now 8-3 as we go to the top of the 9th. Now, I said something about bringing Hinkie in to get the save, but that's when it was 6-3. Now it's 8-3. So I think we may very well be looking at Jimmy Key trying to finish what he started. Got a 5-run lead to work with. And Madlock will lead things off. It'll be the heart of the order, Madlock, Gibson, and Trammell. That's who you want if you're the Tigers. You want those guys at the plate. Madlock was hit by a pitch his last time up. 3-4 for Madlock. That's a ballpark single check, 1-9, but that's a 20. So he's going to pop it up to Orge. One away. Jimmy Key about to go 14-0. Here's Gibson. He is 0 for 3. 1-7. 1 is a home run, but that's an 11. Fly to right field. Now he's 0 for 4. They had Jimmy Key on the ropes in the second inning with a 3-0 lead and could not make it stand. Here's Trammell. Last chance. 4-9, and that's a pop-up to third. Gruber's got it, and there's your ball game. Jimmy Key goes to 14-0 with the complete game victory. 9 innings pitched. And we'll go to our box score to get all the totals. After I put in the things here. All right, so for Jimmy Key, 9 innings pitched, 4 hits, 3 runs. They were earned on a 2-run homer by Lemon and a solo shot by Trammell, all in the second inning. No walks, which were key, and 6 strikeouts. Pardon the pun, they were key. 14-0 loser Walt Terrell goes to 7-2. Jimmy Key's ERA did go up a bit. It's now 1.60. So he's 14-0 with a 1.60 ERA. Obviously, he is the leader in the clubhouse for the Cy Young right now. Get the totals on the game. For the Blue Jays, 8 runs. They do it on 11 hits, and they did not commit an error. For the Tigers, 3 runs, 4 hits, and 2 errors, both by Tom Brookins. So that didn't help their cause any. And we look ahead to tomorrow's game. We will be in Milwaukee. It'll be the Twins against the Brewers. Burke Blyleven against Bill Wegman. That'll be game 426 on the replay. Toronto winning goes to 41-20. Milwaukee 39-19. Now falls a half game back. Milwaukee has to win to keep pace with the Blue Jays. Of course, the Tigers with the loss. Tigers with this loss now drop another game back. So it's not helping their cause in the division race. The Tigers are now 7.5 games back of Toronto. And a game and a half back of the Yankees for third place. So next 2 games on the schedule. Tomorrow we'll be in Milwaukee for Minnesota-Milwaukee. And on Thursday, we'll be in Kansas City. It's the Oakland A's and the Kansas City Royals. Kurt Young against Charlie Leibrandt. Those are the next 2 games on the agenda. We'll be doing a Fall Classic game sometime later today, probably recording it. Not sure how I'm going to do that, but we'll figure something out. But I do want to get back into Fall Classic. Enjoyed that very much, and I want to get something besides this and payoff pitch on the table. So thought Fall Classic would be a good one to do. It's kind of a fun mechanics of that game are pretty fun. There's a lot of interesting little idiosyncrasies in that game that I enjoyed. So that's going to do it from here. Again, final score. Toronto wins it 8-3 over the Tigers. Jimmy Key goes to 14-0. Walt Terrell drops to 7-2. Till next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play. However, choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road.